Good morning to all the dignitaries.
Is he there?
I request to Batul, please start the inaugural ceremony.
Yes, ma'am. A very good and warm morning to everyone present over here. The world is full of diamonds and gems, and we are having some of them here today to build this event, the Startup Conclave 2.0. With this note, I, Batul, along with my co-anchor Ruqaya, would like to give my heartiest welcome to our honorable chief guest, Mr. Sanjay Shukla, our dignitaries, Dr. Abba Rishi, Mr. Srishna Bharadwaj, Mr. Pradeep Karambelkar, VC Sir, Dr. P. Gunasekaran, VP Sir, Sri Shankar Vishwanathan, Dean Sir, Dr. Ashish Tripathi, and coordinators of this event, Dr. Manisha Singh Ma'am, Dr. Sarvanand Sir, and delegates with great joy and immense exultation.
A very good morning to all the dignitaries, the students, and all the respected people present here. I welcome you on this great spring morning for this event, and I won't stand in between you and the distinguished people who have come to speak here. So I request our VC sir to kindly give the welcome address.
Thank you, Dr. Ashish. Very good morning to all of you. Most respected chief guest for today's inaugural function of Startup Conclave 2.0. Our chief guest is Mr. Sanjay Shukla, Principal Secretary, Department of Industry, Government of Madhya Pradesh. I welcome you, sir, for inviting our invitation to attend this inaugural function and inaugurate this event and deliver the inaugural address amidst of your busy schedule and administrative activities in the government of Madhya Pradesh. I also welcome Dr. Abba, Rishi, CEO of Atal Incubation Center, BIMTech, and Fulbright scholar and co-founder.
Ma'am, Sanjay Shukla sir, दिखाई तो दे नहीं रहा.
Okay. And also our esteemed friend and well-wisher, Mr. Pradeep Karambelkar, founder CEO of Vision Advisory, and other dignitaries who are attending this inaugural function. And I also welcome our management, Honorable Chancellor Sir, and Mr. Shankar Vishwanathan, Vice President, and Ms. Kadambari Vishwanathan, Assistant Vice President, and Mrs. Ramani Balasundram, Trustee Madam, for attending this meeting and permitting us to conduct this meeting of the inaugural session of Startup Conclave 2.0. And I also welcome our esteemed Register of VIT Bhopal for having spared time to attend this meeting. I welcome you, sir. And it is a great initiative of the VITB School of VIT Bhopal to conduct this today's meeting as a conclave, a startup conclave, and also to conduct a startup competition for the students to have an idea about how the startup is going to play a major role in the Indian economy. So I sincerely thank and welcome all the members of VITB school, especially the Dean, Dr. Ashish Tripathi, who has put enough the time and preparations for conducting this meeting and online, and welcome all the faculty of School of Business Studies, and all the faculty members and the students of this school who has put an enormous effort in conducting this meeting. And I also welcome all other members who are going to participate in this meeting, and also students, participants who are going to play a major role in conducting these competitions and playing an important role in participation in this startup conclave. I also welcome all the students from all over the country to participate in this meeting. I all welcome all of you. So to make a brief note on how this university is playing an important role in the business studies, and also to give a glimpses of our universities to the esteemed dignitaries of this meeting, I would like to mention that the VIT institutions are established with the aim of providing high class or very high quality education, which are at par with international standards. I think our Principal Secretary Department of Industry will agree to that. We are all in coordination with the Ministry of Education and Madhya Pradesh Private University Regulatory Commission, who has enabled us to start this university in 2017 on a sprawling campus for 200 acres, over 200 acres at the heart of India. I think all of you know that the location of the university plays an important role. It's the center of India, and also between the two clean cities, what you call as per the Swachh Bharat ranking, the Indore and Bhopal always play a 1 and 2 ranking in the Swachh Bharat. So VIT Bhopal is placed on the main highway of the Indore Bhopal, and it is amenable for all over the students from all over the country. And also this university is managed by our Vice President, Mr. Shankar Suswanathan, and Assistant Vice President, Ms. Kadambari Suswanathan, and the Trustee Madam, who is Ramani Balasundram, who are responsible for initiating this university in this campus. I take a pride of saying that I'm the first Vice Chancellor of this university since 2017. I would take a pride that VIT Bhopal has initiated very important milestones in the higher education. To make one or two statements, that it is the first university in the country to have the 100% doctoral faculty in the academic stream. So all our faculty members are holding their PhD, and they had their postdoctoral experience from abroad or from in the National Institute of Importance. And this is a very important steps we have taken in 2017 itself, although UGC has now have given time for all the university to set this benchmark that all the faculty members of the university should hold the PhD. So they have given up to 2023. From then onwards, it should all of them should have the PhD. But now VIT Bhopal has done it well ahead. In 2017 itself, we have initiated this model, and we have introduced a new teaching methodology, teaching learning platform. What we call it as a collaborative active learning through technology. So now you know very well how the technology plays a major role in conducting this meeting itself, and this technology plays a major role in the education. Now most of the education during the pandemic period are conducted in online. So online education are being followed by even the school children, not only the school children, even the primary schools and even the kindergarten students also, they are using the teaching methodology, it's online teaching methodology. So the technology plays a major role. Therefore, being a technology universities, you should introduce a newer methodology in teaching learning platform. Therefore, we introduce collaborative active learning technology through technology, what we call as Caltech, offering both UG and PG programs and also PhD programs. And our classrooms are set up in such a way that the collaborative active learning platform can be employed. We embedded the laboratory in the classrooms. So we have a studio kind of classroom facilities. So therefore, the students can learn the theory as well as conduct the practicals in their classroom itself. So therefore, we extended the timing to 90 minutes instead of usual 40-50 minutes, and or maximum of 1 hour in many universities and colleges they do. But we have extended to 90 minutes so that the students will have enough time to conduct the practicals and exercises, programming and coding, or kind of activities. They can do it in the classroom itself. So these are the two important steps. And the third one is VIT is known for introducing very the courses which are future ready courses. So we always prepare the students ready for the job whenever they complete their graduations. So after 5 years or 4 years, how the job market is going to be there, and what is the need of the country that we are looking for. Therefore, we introduce a new teaching programs like in the UG and PG programs. We introduce cybersecurity and digital forensic, artificial intelligence, machine learning. I think you might have heard about the budget presented by the ministers, where we have given how much important in the artificial intelligence, machine learning. And we also introduced aerospace engineering, gaming technology, computational data science, bioengineering, biotechnology. So we are introducing the robotics and automations. A few other courses. We are also introducing architecture from this year onwards. So we are offering innovative programs in the university. Therefore, our university is known for introducing innovative programs. And now we are also getting strong in the research activities. All of our faculty members, I mentioned that they hold a PhD. They have a keen interest to conduct the research program. Therefore, they keep on applying projects, getting the projects, and they publish a large number of research papers. I would say that even last year itself, more than 60 papers have been published in the Scopus Index journals, and we have crossed 200 research papers in the last 3 years of our existence. And we now, following this the technology methods, we conducted several international and national conferences, meetings, workshops through online mode. So some of the workshops I can mention that hybrid intelligence system, mathematical modeling, computational data analysis. These are some of the, even just few last month itself, we conducted one international conference on cognitive and communications and systems, the interdisciplinary between the computer science and mathematical science. So like that, we are going on introducing newer technology, newer methodology, and so on and so forth. And we also have entered into a lot of collaboration at the international universities and institutions, and also at the institution of national importance. I would mention that there are several universities we have entered into MOU with the National University of Singapore, Yangming universities in Taiwan, Asian University of Taiwan, and a few other universities in Germany. And also we entered into companies MOUs like Virtusa and UiPath and the National Cybersecurity Council, and then Chris Bhopal, and then you have AIC, AgTech, Solonics from Bhopal also, and the Indo-German tool, and also we entered into a MOU with them. And we also signed a MOU with the NASCOM, and for the training of our faculty, on the newer areas like cybersecurity and digital forensics, so that our faculty members are certified the NASCOM courses, teaching the NASCOM courses like cybersecurity and digital forensics. We are entered into the training mode for our faculty member, for several other courses also, so that they're upscaling their ability to conduct the courses to the students. And we have been awarded the few awards in the last 2-3 years. We have been given in the Educational Excellence Award by the Career Connect, the magazine 2018. They've given our university under the best emerging technical institution in North India. That is the one award they've been given. And the best technical award has been given by the STEM Summit conducted in New Delhi. And just last month, we had a award from DCI, Security Council of India. They have recognized as the best education, the cybersecurity education providing university in the country. That last month we have received from the Security Council of India. So like that, we are building up the capabilities in both in research and teaching, and we are known for providing the best placement activities, and we have the system like single entry and the single exit policy for all the universities, VIT universities, as we have the 4 campuses, Vellore, Chennai, Amravati, Andhra, and Bhopal. All the 4 campuses, we have a common entrance examinations and common placement activities, and most of our students, the MCA and even the 4th year students, all of them are all the eligible students have been placed in a variety of various companies, and it is an attraction for the parents and the students who are looking for the VIT admission. So the placement is important. So as a matter of the choice, VIT Bhopal plays an important role, since it is being placed in the center of the India. You don't have to travel across the country. Just to from any corner of the country, you can reach the Bhopal and you can get the admission. That is the attraction. As far as today's meeting is concerned, so we know very well that the startup is an important area. Both our the government and the state government and the central government emphasis on providing the opportunity for the students to become an entrepreneur rather than the employees. So always the motto is that you become an employer rather than employee. That is a motto for startup policies. And even since 2016 also, the government is playing a major role and setting up Startup India flagship programs, and Government of India is intended to build a strong ecosystem for nurturing innovations and startup in the country that will derive sustainable economic growth and generate large-scale employment opportunities. So government cannot go on keep on giving the employment for the all the students who are graduating. So it is better the entrepreneurship skill is imparted to the students, so that they become an entrepreneur and to become an employer rather than the employee. So this meeting is going to play a major role and educating the students to get an idea about the entrepreneurship and also the startup programs. So the experts are there, our government secretary is there, so they will throw a light on the startup programs. So I welcome you all for this meeting, and our students and all the students all over the country, they are going to be benefited by this conclave. So this will set a trend for all other universities to start up programs, setting up the startup initiatives in their universities, so that VIT Bhopal stands as a #1 and serve as a benchmark for all other universities in the country. With this few words, I welcome you all to this meeting, and I sincerely thank all the the dignitaries who accepted the invitations, and also thank our management for providing the opportunity to conduct this meeting, and thank our school faculty members, including the dean and all other faculty members who actively participated in this meeting, and the students, our strong pillars who are running around all the places to arrange this meeting. And I welcome you all for this meeting. Have a great day. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. Innovation and enterprising are the wheels that steer the world into a brighter future. Great ideas result into great undertakings, which pave the way for glaring success. So in order to facilitate this vision of promoting entrepreneurship, the Startup Conclave 2.0 is a platform created by VIT Bhopal University to inspire, showcase, and initiate ideas. It's not about the ideas, it's about making the ideas happen. This platform perceives entrepreneurship as a combination of perseverance and sport. Our vision is to foster entrepreneurship by providing an apt opportunity to students and aspiring entrepreneurs to experience their business and sculpt their entrepreneurial ideas into a reality, and hence carve a niche of innovation and upliftment in the society. We feel honored to have with us the Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency Mr. Sanjay Shukla. He is a serving IAS officer with more than 24 years of experience. He is a BE in Mechanical Engineering from IIT Roorkee and PG Diploma in Industrial Engineering from NITIE, Mumbai. In his career span as a public service professional, he has served in diverse portfolios and sectors, including urban development, power, finance, rural development, and regulatory administration. He has worked under various capacities, including SDO Neemach, CEO Zilla Panchayat Jhabua, Commissioner Indore, Municipal Corporation Collector Mandla Devas and Bhopal, Director Finance Department, Chairman and MD Madhya Kshetra Vidyut Veteran Company Limited Bhopal, Commissioner and Secretary of Urban Development and Environmental Department, MD, MP Power Management Company Limited, and ex officio Principal Secretary Energy. During his tenure, he has received various awards for his contribution in the area of urban administration, power sector, rural development, and regulatory administration. Some of his significant achievements include the National Award to the Best Local Level Committee for Outstanding Work for Persons with Disabilities in 2005. In 2012, he received the National Urban Water Award. In 2013-14, he received National E-Governance Award, HUDCO Best Practices Award, Green Clean City Award, Chief Minister's Excellence Award for Best Government Office for the year 2012-13, etc. He has published and presented various papers, articles such as E-Praman Patra, a sector-specific application on e-governance, Promise of E-Governance, Operational Challenges, Urban Environment Management Indore Initiative, and Transparency and Civic Engagement Initiative in India. While serving as a public service professional, he concurrently continues his academic activity as visiting professor, fellow in ISB, Hyderabad IIM Indore, RCVP, Noronha Academy of Administration and Management, Bhopal. On behalf of the management, I thank you for providing your gracious presence for joining us today. Now, I would like to request you to address our young entrepreneurs on the topic, building a robust startup ecosystem in the progressive state of MP. Over to you, sir.
Sir, we cannot hear you, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, there are so many controls in the system.
I can understand, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. So I was saying a very warm good morning to everyone. Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. I can see some of my friends, Ashish Tripathi and Pradeep Karambelkar there. So a very lovely good morning. Respected faculty members, all the students and ladies and gentlemen. The idea of today's discussion was so attractive that I said immediately yes to Ashish ji when he asked me to speak on the occasion. it is a good thing that Madhya Pradesh is in the process of finalizing and preparing a startup policy. So now that you have my email ID, there is a separate department called Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Department, MSME department. That is the nodal department, but ideas are being collected from all the departments like IT, skill development, industries, and so on. And I'm part of that group which is finalizing this policy. And so I would request all of you to contribute on my email ID all the ideas that you have in next 1 week or so, so that they may be discussed and incorporated in the policy. That is one thing. Now, secondly, my views on startup policy and how Madhya Pradesh can contribute is that startup is a new thing. But if you look back, all industrial inventions, all research, even discovery of an umbrella or a wearing glasses that we are wearing or a watch, everything was a startup at some point of time. So whenever we identify the need of a society, the need of a section of society, and we address that need, we create a startup. So anything that you see around when you travel, when you go to a new city, new town, you feel some need which is still needs to be addressed. The second point is there is a need not only of the common citizen or the consumer. There is a need for companies. There is a need for government departments, government activities, and also there is a very clear need for large companies also. For example, I was talking to somebody in a US IT firm, and they are addressing a very new need of Walmart. Walmart is running a large set of stores in US. What they are going to do is all the perishable things like fruits, edible things, bread and pastries and so on. So how to reduce or minimize the wastage of such things, because there are many countries where still a large number of people are fighting hunger. So how can Walmart reduce their wastage, which will be also profitable for them, but at the same time, it will save and conserve a very precious commodity, which is food. So similarly, we see in Indian context also, a large number of companies still are struggling with their logistics. Companies are struggling with their IT support system. In spite of India being the IT hub for the world, a good number of government departments, their activities, local bodies, even Jila Panchayat, Gram Panchayat, rural development sectors, agriculture, they are still getting benefit of, let's say, 5% or 10% of the IT capacity that this country has. I have a very interesting experience to share with you. About 6-7 years ago, I happened to visit Spain. We were in Barcelona. Now, the government of Barcelona metropolitan area, they took us to a discussion for a future smart city they were planning to build on the outskirts of Barcelona. Now, the funny part was the gentleman who was making that presentation was some Mr. Saxena from Gurgaon. So we had a good laugh that we could have done this discussion in Delhi itself if we were to hear from one Mr. Saxena of Gurgaon. So my point is, we have the capacity and we have the need. Now we have to do a matchmaking. So the role of VIT and us, both of us, are to do this matchmaking, create an enabling environment, support our students who will first identify the need, then go some in depth of the need, how this need can be addressed, what are the alternatives available right now, what are their limitations. For example, in edutech, education technology is now being called edutech. Byju's have garnered good amount of market. A good number of my batchmates and classmates are of the age group where their children are in class 10 and 12. Some of them are from IITs and other colleges. They clearly see a need to develop even higher level material, and they feel Byju's has strong limitations in many subjects. So even Byju, which is very successful, which is now earning millions and maybe billions, we don't know, but they have been able to capture only a small fraction of the market. So there is a need in education, there is a need in health. For example, our country has a large number of people who are retiring, their children are abroad or outside, and they need medical support. They need, on a phone call, somebody can come, take their blood pressure, do some kind of testing, checking, do some kind of care taking, Maybe they can make 2 visits per day, morning, evening, and so on and so forth. So there would be a large number of need in the health sector, in the education sector. There would be in food, agriculture. So I mean, immense potential, huge potential to be tapped and captured. So I would urge all the students and faculty to, I mean, kind of develop a incubation center right in your university, create a environment where students can come up with ideas, test their ideas, and the idea has to be fully thought through. You have to look at the manpower issue, you have to look at the finance issue, your revenue model, where from revenue will come, what will you spend, what kind of credit line you need, what kind of angel investors you need, and so on. So the role of the university is to create this kind of a kitchen where a good recipe will come out. So that is what I would request Honorable VC and the faculty team to look at. We are here. I am very happy that VIT is in Bhopal now, very close to Bhopal city. And slowly this whole gap will also be continuously, I mean, kind of urbanization is going on very fast. So it will be part of Bhopal city in the next 5 to 10 years. So how we can benefit from the potential that this state has to offer? MP is a very large state, but the number of active startups in the state is very low in number. So we need good startups here, and we are willing to support the startup. The policy that we are going to propose is kind of supporting all the startups, is going to support the startups in various sense, in research, in financial terms also, and so on. So I will stop here with these 2-3 ideas that I want to share with you, that there is a major need. So please look at the need, try to address the need of the society through a technological support system with, of course, good input of manpower, and because it must generate employment also to a large number of, let's say, rural young people. So, and the sector is, in all the sectors that you see, all the developmental sector, we have human development index to look at. Wherever there is a need, you have a role to play. The government of Madhya Pradesh is running lakhs of and thousands of Anganwadis and schools, and there is a major need how to make them more efficient, more delivery oriented, so that they can benefit the community. We should not think that only in luxury goods we have to look at for creating employment. There is a whole lot of potential at the bottom of the pyramid, as we say. So you must look at the bottom of the pyramid. There is a famous, it's a known thing in economics now. Mr. Bhagwati made it very popular. The bottom of the pyramid, the mass that is working as a worker, farmer, unskilled worker, semi-skilled worker, skilled worker, their family need, middle class, their need, and a large number of companies. So I would like to thank Ashish ji for giving me this opportunity. He has been a dear friend for many years now, and I would leave it open to other people to speak now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for delivering your incredible words. Now, I would like to introduce Professor Abba Rishi. She is currently the CEO for the Untitled Incubation Center, BIMTech. She has 23 years of experience in the field of international trade in industry and academics. She is an ECC Honors, STVP, Stanford University, PhD, Master of Philosophy, PGD IBO, MFT, and MIP. She is a CRIPS 2014 Scholar at State Business School, University of Oxford. She is also a Fulbright Research Fellow from India at Rutgers University, New York, USA for 2009 to 10. She has also been selected for the 10,000 Women Global Program under the aegis of Goldman Sachs London Business School held in India with NEN. She was a program director from BIMTech for UP and Odisha for the BIMTech ISB Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women Global Project. She has published and presented papers in various domestic and international forums. She has been selected as one of the semi-finalists in the GD and Japanese Award for Outstanding Research and Development Work. She has traveled extensively in Zambia, Russia, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Colombia, Dubai, and USA as part of her research. Her areas of interest are international retailing and entrepreneurship. Her hobbies include reading and quizzing. She has also won the Champion Winners of Trophy in 2008 in the All India Women's Quiz conducted by AIMA. She has been confirmed the Entrepreneurship Education Champions Award from the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship along with NEN, EDII, the British Council and Intel in 2015. Recently, she has received the Accenture IND Award on March 8, 2017 for her work with the underprivileged section of society. This award was given to only 5 other people from across the country. Now, I would like to request ma'am to give her inspiring words to our young entrepreneurs. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Rukaya, for that beautiful introduction, and thank you, VIT Bhopal, for inviting me for this particular summit, because students and student entrepreneurship has always been very close to my heart. And I would also like to say congratulations to VIT Bhopal for the list of awards that you people have won. So I think you deserve a big round of applause for that. When I was talking to Dr. Manisha Singh, she told me that this particular summit is more or less focused on students. So I have prepared a small presentation which will keep them in focus and make them understand like why entrepreneurship is the need of the hour. But before I do that, may I request the 2 student representatives here on the panel, Batul and Rukaya, what are your dreams for the future? Yeah, I think you can be pretty frank. It's okay. Go ahead. Unmute yourself and tell us what are your dreams.
Ma'am, I want to pursue MBA.
Okay. And
I want to go into corporate world.
okay, great. Rukaya, how about you?
Ma'am, I want to become a senior partner in a multinational company.
Thank you. That's a great dream. So, I mean, you can see right in front of you 2 of the most, I think, the best samples of students that you have. They are themselves thinking about a corporate life. Now, that's why I thought like it's important for us to make them understand why entrepreneurship could be an alternate career avenue rather than like pushing them into startups and other things, explaining the logic behind why they should think about entrepreneurship. So I have a small presentation. If you don't mind, can you give me the sharing rights? One of you has to give me the sharing rights, VIT.
Yes, ma'am. Can provide.
And I'll try to keep to my time limit. It's 10:13 by the clock here, and to finish up within the next 8 minutes. I will not take more than that.
Sure, ma'am.
I'm still to get the screen share. Is anybody working on that?
Yes, ma'am. Team is working on it.
Okay. Done? No, not yet.
Great, ma'am.
Okay, I'll just continue. I mean, when you give me the screen share rights, just let me know. So many of you, if you have been reading the newspapers, you would have seen that there's a lot of information which comes about multinationals letting go of their employees, and they're also downsizing. So in such a situation, what do students do? I mean, especially those who are new into the market, what can they do? And we have on one side the pressure from the government that you think about startups, and there is no growth in the industries. There's hardly any new jobs coming out in the market. So there's a lot of pressure on the students. Their dreams are to become corporate employees, not to become employers. So how do you manage both these things? That's what I'd like to talk about. So is this the screen share ready? No, it's still not come up. And I'm glad that we have 2 people who are from the entrepreneurial world, Mr. Shishendu and Mr. Pradeep.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Is Pradeep ji. So
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not yet.
We are learning from you, ma'am.
And we learn from you. I mean, I think entrepreneurs are the best teachers because the kind of challenges that you guys face, it's not easy. And it's, frankly speaking, not everybody's cup of tea. But then, like the students, they can be trained through certain processes. Like you must be thinking about it. If you had known certain things beforehand, you would have not made certain mistakes, which brought you down. So that learning process, that learning curve can be shortened if certain training things are given. Yeah, I have it finally.
Agreed. So this is the best time when people like you are there to train us.
Sir, you can be the trainer. I'm talking mostly about the students. So here I have put the whole thing into three the need. And like I had said, you have lots of these kind of articles coming into the newspaper, like many of the people are being laid out, people are talking about job cuts and all those things. So how do we unlock this particular potential that students have? Because they also face problems, especially when it comes to social and financial problems. So social, like we have just had a talk with these two youngsters, they have peer pressure. I mean, everybody wants to become good salary earners. I mean, if they have a 5 figure, 6 figures kind of salary, they have something to show off. Similarly, families also have expectations. I started working in the field of entrepreneurship way back around 15 years ago. And to put it very bluntly, I started in a place like UP, which is not in the forerunners of entrepreneurship. And when I used to talk to my students' family members, and especially their parents, their reaction would be in the typical UP style, "Pagla gaye ho ka?" I mean, I don't know how to translate it in Hindi, but have you got mad that my children are going to become entrepreneurs? And that was 15 years ago. Things have changed, but then it has still not changed too much in many areas. So how do we deal with that? Similarly, when we have financial issues that the students face, how do they deal with student loan issues? Many of the students I know, they take loans. And how do they deal with getting the initial funds which are required for starting any venture? And most of all, there is this fear of failure. Everybody knows that 7 out of 10 startups fail. So how do you ensure that they are not among those 7 that have failed? How do you ensure that they're among the 3? So I kind of thought it over, and I have been talking to many students, and like I said, it's been more than 15 years, have mentored more than 1,000 plus entrepreneurs, 10,000 students and all. So this is what is the gist of my experiences. So when we have those two challenges, how do we deal with them? So when we have the social challenge, these are the 3 methods through which the students can set the expectations. First of all, if you have the interest in you, if you have the seed of entrepreneurship in you, then start setting the family expectations right from, say, 2-3 years before you start your venture. And slowly build up the things. Start working on your idea along with your studies. Keep working on that. Nowadays, most of the campuses have got incubation centers. And if not incubation centers, then you will have e-cells or pre-incubation centers. So work along with those people and start getting that thing into the momentum. And side by side, keep setting the family expectations so that when you think about entrepreneurship or you tell them about entrepreneurship, it's not a shock to them. Similarly, challenge the peer pressure. If you are really keen about entrepreneurship, don't let your classmates push you down. Remember, if today they might be earning something, 5 years down the line, you might be the people giving them jobs. So don't let them push you down today. Challenge that peer pressure. You have that potential in you, do that. And third, and the most important, is train to succeed. You know, research as well as experience has shown that the reasons 7 out of 10 fail are very simple reasons, which can be overcome by training. And that's the reason why nowadays you have so many training programs on entrepreneurship. Select the best training programs, go for it. And there's a 99.9 possibility that you will succeed. 0.1% is somebody else's blessings. So, but the rest of it, you can take care of it. Similarly, when we talk about financials, initial funding can be created through family, friends, and well-wishers. Call them angels or whatever. You can go in for grants. There's a lot of grants which the government today gives. Actually, if you look at it, now is the best possible time for anybody to start their own venture. There are so many methods. And plus, like I said, the government has a lot of schemes. Crowdfunding is another one method that you can raise funds for your initial go for your venture. So all these things you get if you put your first step ahead and think about entrepreneurship. There's a lot of soft infrastructure support. And when I say soft infrastructure support, companies like Amazon, they give free web credits to many incubators. There are so many other companies which are willing to give out freebies for those who are thinking about starting their own ventures. Then, of course, the hard infrastructure support, which means buildings. You need to have an office space to work in. So all these things are again given under the incubation support which is there. So reach out nearby and try and find out what you can do. Like if I talk about our journey itself, it's taken us around 15 to 16 years to reach where we are now. But for the institution as well as for the students, there are ways in which you can cut short this journey and probably achieve what we've achieved in 10 years in the next 3 or 4 years. So, and we do share our experiences and our knowledge with many of the institutions here in Delhi and across the country. So we have signed many academic partnerships with them. So we have around 14 of these academic partnerships. And we do train these institutions also on how to build up fast. So along with the students, it's also the organization which needs that training. Like, how do you support these students so that they also scale up fast? And this is a bit about how we have done it. So in the last 3 years that the AIC has been in existence, the first thing that we did is we went across and got in partners who could really help the incubatees, who could really help the students. And we clubbed together something like 8.26 crores worth of free benefits for our students and for our incubatees. So this could include, like I said, something like $5,000 worth of free Amazon web credits. It could be an F6's Alpha card, which helps you when you're traveling. So all these things together, we have been able to get to for our incubatees and students. And frankly speaking, this is what we offer to our associate members also. That means the institutes who have joined up with us for co-incubation, we give it to them also. So national, international, and then we have lots of academic partners. So we also work on incubating exchange. So student exchange is there, but we also work on how to think about market access, international market access. Domestic market access is easy, but how do you think about international market access? So students are helped through all those things when they're thinking about or when starting their own venture. And this is some of the things that we focus on. We focus on edtech, mobility, agri-tech, gaming. So for us, these are the new nascent sectors, and this is what we focus on. Because we think that already there's a lot of support which is happening in the mature sectors. So, and how has things that we have dealt with helped us? In the last 3 years, we have more than 1,500 applications and 81 incubatees dealing in these different sectors. And this is the snapshot of what we have created in the last 3 years. So you'll see that 9.2 crores worth of funds have been created by our own incubatees because of the training that has been given to them, of the process that they need to go when they think about scaling. 14 awards have been received by them, and they themselves have created 361 jobs. So imagine the kind of impact that your students could also do if you bring the ecosystem together. And like I said, I'll finish within the time which is given. So here you are, 10:25, 8 minutes. My presentation is over. And I have 2 minutes if anybody wants to ask any questions. So that's all from my side.
Good
Thank
morning,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for showering your pearls of wisdom and knowledge. Now we have with us our Honorable Vice President, Sri Shankar Vishwanathan, sir. I would like to give you my warm welcome, sir. Sir, would you like to say a few words to our young entrepreneurs? Hello, sir.
Sir may be quite busy with some other assignments, Batul. Please go ahead for.
Okay, sure. I'm profusely elated to take an opportunity to introduce Mr. Srishna Bharadwaj. He's the biggest e-ambassador of India, poet, space developer, and an entrepreneurial leader. His aura is decorated with over 3,000 e-drives all around India. For his drives and followings, he says he's on national duty for enterprising India. He was invited in Germany for documentary of his chronicle. He has got nationwide recognition for his advisory to the most of the e-cells and incubation centers of India. Today, he'll be speaking on the topic, the Indian morning tea of entrepreneurship. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Rukaiya. Am I audible?
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Rukaiya. It's impressive to see 3 women power to inaugurate these sessions in the morning. And I believe that in the future, I will see you both, Batul and Rukaiya, in the greatest spectrum of the nation. Hello, everyone. This is Srishna Bharadwaj on national duty. Today, I will be having a speech on the Indian national tea, Indian morning tea of entrepreneurship. And I owe it to Mother India. India, which is widely known for her culture, diversity, language, spiritual tradition, and alternative practices throughout the world. But there is one other field where her contribution is seldom spoken about. That's entrepreneurship. The role of Indian entrepreneurs has been downplayed so far by the West and paid no heed to by her own citizens. But one has to only look around to see the huge number of businessmen and many kinds of trades going on in India to debunk this impression. India was once hailed as the land of astonishing wealth and beauty, and countless traveling writers refer to it as a golden sparrow or Sone ki chirniya. The titles are conferred out of respect and admiration. From 300 BC to AD 1600, we find this title, Sone ki chirniya, popping out of many chronicles. Either it's the writer of Wang Yan, Marco Polo, or Ibn Battuta. Even before Christ was born, bullion was coming to India from all over the world. In AD 77, the Roman historian Pliny, with elder called India the sink of world's precious matter. Pliny also mentions that the Roman senators were annoyed and distraught by their women, who imported huge amounts of spices and luxurious clothes from India, breeding the Roman wealth. And India has been the part of various invasions, and one of the invaders, when his caravan got out of India, it is said to be it was plundered with wealth and beauty, which is estimated to have stretched for 150 miles. Such was the plunder that he suspended all kinds of taxation in his state for 3 years. But no matter how many times the raiders plundered the wealth and gold of the country, it would be replenished in no time. With no active gold and diamond mines, it was the Indian merchants who replenished the wealth by bringing back the gold, not by force, but by their mercantile spirit. In his book, James A. Robinson also describes that from 81 to 1000, India's share of the global economy was over 35%. India, despite the invasions and plunders by various raiders, had the world's largest economy between 81 and 81,000. It was the rule of East India Company that this trend changed. It's documented that the average outflow of wealth to Britain exceeded 5 million GBP in revenue and taxes every year, which in today's prices is about 215 billion GBP. A British revenue officer, John Sylvians, once summoned it succinctly that our system acts very much like a sponge that draws all good things from river Ganges and squeeze it down to the bank of river Thames. Even after independence, the impact of colonial exploitation remained for a long time. It took the economic reforms of 1991 when the license era was banished, freeing our entrepreneurs and sparrows from their cages to roam the world and do business. Indeed, in less than 30 years, the wealth they have brought back has catapulted India from third world country to the third largest economy of the world, as per the purchasing power parity. The purchasing power parity is also described as triple E in the market of India. So the businessman remains just as relevant as before, if not more. Indian startups are also gaining momentum in their homeland. The arena has seen a huge wave of youngsters settling up big empires in little time. In the years to come, there is every chance that India will become the startup capital of the world. And in India, there is nothing like a hot cup of tea to start a day. And in the morning, I will speak on tea and how it describes the Indian nationalism and entrepreneurship. In the cool silence of early morning, millions of households stirs to life to the rattling sounds of kettles on stoves and the hiss of boiling tea. For Arunachal to Kashmir, to Kanyakumari and Gujarat to Arunachal Pradesh, every province, region, and neighborhood has its own version of tea. Chai, that's chai. Chai is not just a morning ritual, it's a beverage. Depending on where you have it and with whom, it is both time of capsule and a marker of memorable stories. The poor man enjoys his boiled tea CTC, crushed, clear, and curd, as much as the connoisseur his gourmet white tea. India is a nation united under chai, with its diversity reflecting its many flavors. Unfortunately, from outer world, people are jealous on this chai, and in recent days they are complaining about it. Today, tea is a global beverage. Even Starbucks has a popular variant of tea called the chai tea late. Further, if you think about the chai, that tea, which is part of our everyday life, that we have taken it for granted. To understand the importance of a business, all we have to do is find out where our indispensable commodities come from. For example, if we try to find where we got the chai from, the short answer would be we bought them from the neighborhood kirana stores, just down under. But if we dig deeper, we know that the store is only the last stage of bringing it to the buyer. And there are lots of dots that needs to be connected. All know that tea is made with three main ingredients: tea leaves, milk, and sugar. The tea leaves are delivered to the kirana stores from the tea estate. We collect milk from milkmen. Sugar, without which tea would feel a chore, and is brought to our homes by retailers. Preferably, over a cup of tea, we can go further in this journey. It takes a little over a month for the tea leaves to reach our homes from the day they were plucked from the estate. They're picked by workers in tea estate in a faraway state from the kirana store near our house, processed and dried by machines in a factory, packaged and sealed to retain the fragrance of the garden, transported to wholesalers across India and delivered to the shelves of supermarket or a grocery store near us. Likewise, many other things are also working on the market, like sugarcane. They have industries, farmers going on it. They are buying industrial equipment for its farming, etc., etc. The basket that the tea leaves were picked in came from weavers. The machine in the tea factory must have first required an iron and steel industry for their manufacturing. We find every item in the chain of production is interlinked. So we haven't even included the transport industry that brings goods from all parts of the world into our households. And yet we can keep on connecting the dots that from there it is coming, it is going there, and then there are lots of transactions going on. So there is no into the number of processes, people and partnerships that work together to let us have our sip of chai. Add to that the biscuits, namkeen, khakra, and the cup you have the tea in. And the chain of events would very well go back to the beginning of human civilization. From the time of Mahabharata, the 21st century, we see the rise of many more new vyapars, necessitating a new vocabulary to describe them, such as entrepreneurs and their process of entrepreneurship. There are other two, like traders and e-tailers, etc., etc. When we deconstruct this concept of entrepreneurship, we find it has 5 essential components. That one's demand buyer, second product service, third agreement between buyer and seller, transaction, and fifth mutual satisfaction. Someone creates a product as per the demand, find a suitable buyer, ensure consent between buyer and seller, enable the transaction, assure customer satisfaction, and connect these 5 components, the 5 dots, to make a chain. This all chain is kind of a business cycle, and a unique idea put into that is the form of entrepreneurship, and puts that unique idea to build up the economy is called entrepreneurs. While the external aspects of business keep changing due to time and circumstances, these 5 eternal aspects remain fixed, in which transaction is the most vital part, and it is also called atomic unit of any business cycle. We perform transaction on daily basis. Transactions are the fuel that keeps the engine of economy running. The failure of one rung of transaction can result in the collapse of another rung in the economy, like a domino effect. Those who study markets know this concept very well and keep their ears open for any event, political, economical, social, domestic, international, any kind of there can be of, which can impact transaction at different levels of economy. These are the levels of economy which can be impacted. It's the reason why every year economists, government, analysts, and businessmen eagerly follow the monsoon forecast in India. The impact of monsoons on the Indian economy illustrates the domino effect of transactions perfectly. That's why farmers are very much important in any country of the world. While the domino effect runs along the entire economy, affecting the performance of manufacturing sector, the service sector, the government, and everything in between. The net result is that everyone contributes to national spending and thus to the nation's economy. A failed monsoon, on the other hand, cuts down the farmer's ability to spend, which in turn has domino effect on everyone's spending and leads to an overall decline in the economy. So the traditional form of business and the most atomic part is the farmer. Without that, we can't even think of entrepreneurship further, because it's something which makes artificial transaction in the national economy. Someone from Europe, James Keynes, a very renowned economist, has proposed that advice to cure this unemployment and slowdown. That was, advice is for government to pay people to dig holes and then fill them up. If there is no work in the market, just bring those people and pay them for digging holes in the ground without any work. What will it make? It will generate artificial transactions of money, helping the national economy to work for. He also argued with increased spending and boost the economy in a short term before it would acquire momentum and would beat the downturn. It is the reasoning that made the economists and policy makers at IMF, World Bank, and Indian government to launch schemes such as Manrega, Jan Dhan Yojana, etc., so as to artificially increase the overall transactions in the country, keep it out of recessions, and maintain a minimum level of growth. So Indian culture embraces this phenomenon and promotes transactional spending. We witness it every year during festivals. This is the reason that India's economy has always been thriving. So next time you have a cup of tea, take a moment to remember myself and take a moment to remember that with every sip you are contributing to the economy of India. I am on my national duty. Are you? Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for a very thought-provoking and interesting address. Now, I would like to introduce Mr. Pradeep Karambelkar, sir. He is a chairperson of PhD, Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Madhya Pradesh, and is a serial entrepreneur and founder of Vision Advisory Group, which is to investment, healthcare, journalism, and trainings. He is a key pillar in startup ecosystem of Madhya Pradesh as incubator, national level mentor, and seed investor. He is a regional partner with India's largest angel investment group venture, Catalyst. He is also a regional director and the man who brought BNI to Bhopal. Currently, he is the state chairman with PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, vice chairman with TAI, the Indus Entrepreneurs, Madhya Pradesh, co-chairman with Bhopal Management Association. He is also a state council member with CII MP and past chairman Bhopal Zone. He has been recognized as a pride of Madhya Pradesh by Dainik Bhaskar, icon of Bhopal by Patrika, and Madhya Pradesh Ratna by Madhya Pradesh Press Club. He is on mentoring board on various institutions nationally. His contribution in industry academic is also recognized by the President of India. With his passion to build entrepreneurial network in MP, he is working on his vision to make Bhopal a powerful network of 1,000 local entrepreneurs in the next 4 years. I welcome him for his presentation. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, all, and thank you, VIT. Thank you, Ashish Tripathi, for giving me this opportunity to speak to the students and dignitaries. Sanjay Shukla ji, Shailendru ji, Abha ji, or Dr. Manisha and students. Or thank you. आपने मेरा introduction पढ़ा. Thanks, and thank you very much. And so first of all, Ashish has given me this opportunity to speak on startup and entrepreneurship. Suddenly he said कि सर कल आपको आना है और so मैंने कहा ठीक है चलिए, that's an honor for us, and I've been there to your panel discussion also after this. So I've been to this industry, and you can say I've been to this ecosystem for past many years. We've been the first private incubation center in Madhya Pradesh given by the state government. Before that also, I used to work with startups, and before new entrepreneurs, the startup world was not there in Madhya Pradesh on much hype side or higher side. But yes, I used to work with the entrepreneurs who wants to build their career. So in that way, we've been instrumentally, personally with many startups who wants to grow their businesses through mentoring or even seed funding. So we funded also many of the startups in Madhya Pradesh, or especially in Bhopal, and we are doing it with our team of professionals, with team of mentors, and myself also. And as I am the part of various industrial organizations, and just you can see on my backdrop, I am presently heading TAI Madhya Pradesh also, which is a premium body, international body, which works for entrepreneurial, fostering entrepreneurial journeys. So in that way, we are the people who are always supporting to start up an entrepreneur. As far as Madhya Pradesh and Bhopal is concerned, we are yet to go on a long way. हमारे यहाँ बहुत सारे भी issues हैं और बहुत सारे youngsters हमारे पास आते हैं. Last 2.5 years, I have already met more than 1,000 startups in local Madhya Pradesh, and listen to their ideas and listen to their business ideas. I must say that we have good depth of entrepreneurship. There are very good students who are students or people who are coming with their entrepreneurial ideas. उनके पास बहुत सारा material होता है, बहुत सारा सोच होता है. लेकिन जहां तक मुझे लगता है कि अगर हम स्टार्टअप की सक्सेस को स्टार्टअप की डेफिनेशन से देखते हैं तो हम थोड़े से पीछे रह जाते हैं. इसलिए पीछे रह जाते हैं क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ के ज्यादातर जो स्टार्टअप्स हैं जिनसे मैं मिलता हूँ, वो चाहे वो इंजीनियरिंग बैकग्राउंड से हो, चाहे मास्टर्स बैकग्राउंड से हो, चाहे मैनेजमेंट बैकग्राउंड से हो, वो ज्यादातर जो थॉट प्रोसेस उनकी है, वो उनके एक तो थॉट प्रोसेस और प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट्स उनकी बहुत अधिक क्लियर नहीं होती, और प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट के क्लियर न होने से और स्केलेबिलिटी क्लियर न होने से उनको बहुत सारे इश्यूज आते हैं. So I must say कि जो भी students मुझे सुन रहे हैं या आगे भी जो इस program में सुनेंगे, उनको एक चीज हमेशा देखनी चाहिए कि वो जो जिस भी problem को solve करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं, वो scalable है या नहीं, और दूसरा वो कुछ बड़ा सोच पा रही है कि नहीं. So most of the startups in Madhya Pradesh, basically we can say that we have lack of vision and lack of clarity in what we want to do. If so, we need a good, strong network of mentors also, apart from investors. So we are already in process with developing local mentoring boards with TIE. We are also started this TIE Nurture program, where we are also having mentors on board from across India. So we can definitely help VIT for taking their students for the various networking and various network nurturing program on startup mentoring and all those things. We can always do that. Similarly, we have a local investor network also. So we can also promote your startups and support them on fund side also. And so that they can nurture their startups and they can grow along with us. So we have both the things available with us. We are working with Government of Madhya Pradesh also. And as Sanjay Shukla ji already told, I am also an advisor with MSME department for Atmanirbhar MP. So definitely we will definitely work out with VIT something very good, whatever VIT is looking for, because I've been to VIT for many times, physically also and online also. So I have a great connection and love for VIT people. And I definitely think that this type of premium institution in Madhya Pradesh can bring a lot of new things to ecosystem of a startup of Madhya Pradesh. So I welcome you all, whether mentoring, whether it is seed funding, whether it is new exposure to train yourself, train your startups, train your entrepreneurship. I invite all the youngsters who wants to do anything on entrepreneurship or startup to have connect with me. I have put my numbers on the chat box also. And so you can always connect with me. Thanks again, Ashish ji, and all the dignitaries, and especially Vice Chancellor sir, and that you invited me and gave this opportunity to speak to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your facilitating words. Now, I would like to request the faculty convener, Dr. Manisha Singh, ma'am, to give the vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am. Ma'am, you are not audible.
Sorry for this intervene. Thank you, Batul. A great man whispered, feeling thankfulness and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. A warm good morning to Honorable Chief Guests, present excellencies, faculties, and dear students. Today, I, Dr. Manisha Singh, on behalf of VIT Business School, feeling honored and privileged to take the opportunity to pull all my gratitudes into words. I express my heartfelt thanks to our Honorable Chancellor, Dr. G. Vishwanathan Sir, our distinguished President, Mr. Shankar Vishwanathan Sir, our eminent Assistant Vice President, Ms. Kadambari Vishwanathan Ma'am, our respected Trustee, Mrs. Ramni Shankaran Ma'am, for providing this learning platform. My sincere thanks to the most valued Honorable Chief Guest, Shri Sanjay Shukla Sir, Principal Secretary, Department of Industry, Madhya Pradesh, for his efforts to give an insight on the robust startup ecosystem. So without your presence, this event can't be complete. I may like to express my sincere thanks to esteemed Vice Chancellor, Dr. P. Gunashekaran Sir, for his constant support and encouragement. I am grateful to esteemed Speaker, Dr. Abba Rishi Ma'am, CEO of Untitled Incubation Center, BIMTech, for kindly accepting our invitation and motivated youth and aspirant entrepreneurs for your inspirational words. Thank you, ma'am. In addition, I am thankful to eminent speaker, Mr. Srishna Bharadwaj sir, as our biggest e-ambassador of India, for providing encouragement on the topic, the Indian morning tea of entrepreneurship. I am also very grateful to distinguished guest, Mr. Pradeep Karambelkar sir, founder and CEO of Vision Advisory, Chairman PhD CCI, for giving excellent coverage to startup ecosystem on his speech. We all are inspired by your great words. I'm thankful to our respected registrar, sir, Sri K.K. Nair, sir, for gracing the inaugural function. My sincere thanks to our notable dean, VIT Business School, Dr. Ashish Tripathi, sir, being the catalyst that inspired us to do our best. I'm thankful to our respectable deans of VIT Bhopal University for kindly accepting our invitation. I'm thankful to Dr. Prince Yasan for gracing this inaugural function. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the faculty fraternity of VIT Bhopal University for gracing the conclave with their presence. I'm thankful to the attendees and participants of the conclave for their overwhelming and enthusiastic participation. I also would like to thank the people who work behind the scene to execute this event. A special mention to our technical arrangement team for making this event a success. Finally, I would like to say thank you to all for joining this event. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bhatt. Thank you, everyone. So to move forward, the next session is panel discussion on the topic powering the Indian economy by a vibrant startup ecosystem. As the eminent panelists will join us, and requesting you to all kindly join us at 11:30 a.m. through the same link. Till then, thank you. Have a good day.
A very good morning to all the participants who have assembled today for the second session of the Business Startup Conclave 2.0 at VIT Business School, VIT Bhopal University. It was a real eye-opener to hear such insightful comments from the leading personalities in the world of startup entrepreneurship. It was really spellbinding, and it was a pleasure. It was such a pleasure to hear from you all. And I congratulate the entire team members who have worked through this, and I welcome you all again to the second session, which is the panel discussion. So the main dignitaries who are taking participate in this panel discussion are respected Srishna Bharadwaj sir. He is also consented to kindly be the moderator and the facilitator for the panel discussion. We have with us the eminent Mr. Pradeep Karambelkar ji. He's a panelist. And another panelist is Mr. Stephen. He'll be joining shortly. He has been communicated and he's promised to join in a very short time. As you all know, as has been communicated earlier also, the theme of this panel discussion is powering the Indian economy via a vibrant startup ecosystem. We all know that entrepreneurs are the soul of any economy. Entrepreneurs are the only people who drive the economy. They are job creators rather than job seekers. Other than that, the innovation that happens, it happens through the via media of entrepreneurship. And the entrepreneurs in any economy play a key role in powering the economy forward. The economy grows because of strong entrepreneurship culture in any country. And it plays a key role in defining the wealth and the kind of assets that a country owns. So entrepreneurship is the key, and startups are the buzzword for the present and the future. So without standing between the panel discussion panelists and the listeners, I now hand over to respected Srishna sir to kindly take this panel discussion forward. Thank you all, and have a good panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving me a chance to be part of panel discussion. Hello, everyone. This is Srishna Bharadwaj. Welcome to panel discussion of Startup Conclave 2.0 presented by VIT Bhopal Business School. We have tremendous panel. I appreciate you all being here. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. The goal of the next hour is to find ways to empower the Indian economy by a vibrant startup ecosystem. So here is how the hour is going to work. I will say a few things in a minute just to kick it off. Tee up some ideas, and I am then going to throw it to the panel, and what I like to do is have a panelist go first and then open it up for questions. I don't want to have all go and then open up for questions, because if there is something fresh in your mind would not be able to ask about it. So the folks can just be at the ready. As I mentioned before, we have really this lot of details. Let me throw it to Mr. Pradeep Kambalkar sir.
Not able to hear you, sir.
Not able to.
अब आ गई आवाज.
Was it audible before?
आ रही है सर, आ रही.
Yes, sir. It's audible.
So the folks can just be at the ready. As I mentioned before, we have really distinguished panel. Their badges are already in your pockets. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details. Let me throw it to Mr. Pradeep Kambalkar sir to kick us off. You can feel free to react.
Bharadwaj sir, you are not audible.
It's not
There,
audible
ma'am.
again.
Bharadwaj sir.
Hello, hello,
Yes,
hello.
yes, sir. Better, sir.
It's better now. Okay, why it's not working like that? Okay, so the folks can just be at the ready. As I mentioned before, we have really distinguished panel. Their bios are already in your packets. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details. Let me throw it to Mr. Pradeep Kambalkar sir to kick us off. You can feel free to react and tell us about yourself, sir.
Thank you, Bharadwaj, and thank you for inviting me for this again. Ashish Tripathi ji, it's an honor to all of for me to be a part of this VIT Bhopal conclave on startup. The topic suggests the national, state level startup and entrepreneurial ecosystem and how we can add to it. And this is what मैं बहुत समय से इस पे काम भी कर रहा हूँ और बहुत सारी चीजें इसमें मैं करता भी हूँ. So I just start with the thing कि आज वर्तमान में क्या स्थिति है. See, in Madhya Pradesh, if you see, in India, it is almost 20 years, 15 or 20 years when the startup thing has been started. 2016, our Prime Minister has given this thought process of Startup India, and the policy has been came to in place. The three words which are being placed in this startup policy was innovation, sustainability, and scalability. So I think the whole startup ecosystem is working on this system, and then many things have evolved during last 4 years in startups. Every state has came out with their own startup policies. They started with their Atal Incubation Center. They started with local private incubation center. We are one of the private institution center, rather the first one in Madhya Pradesh to get this license of private incubation center. And we also did almost now 50 plus mentoring of 50 plus startups. We funded almost 10. So with that, I can always say that what are the new needs of ecosystem? What are the new challenges before the startup system? So one thing which I have seriously found that Madhya Pradesh or India might be is seriously missing on the mentoring side. See, startup start with the thought process that everything evolve around investments, but it's not like that. As I am a businessman, I'm an entrepreneur. I am always already on a board of almost 15 plus organizations and means companies and running 15 plus businesses. But I must say that money is not at all an issue. The most important thing is your objectives, your goals, your purpose, and that is where we require mentoringship. So to my knowledge, the thing which we need in today's ecosystem is primarily is capable mentoring. And capable mentoring can be done through institutes like VIT and collaboration with VIT in academia, you can say industry academia programs. Because there are two types of things. We are industrialists or businessmen or entrepreneurs are good in our businesses, but might not be good mentors. Because it's not necessary that if you are a good businessman or entrepreneur, you can be a good mentor also. So I think where VIT and other institutions like you can always come into the picture and they can provide academic input to this, how to become a better mentor and how to start training programs on how to become reasonable mentors also for all of us. So mentoring is very important thing which very organizations are doing. As I had mentioned in our inaugural session also, that TIE, which is the world's biggest entrepreneurial organization, the Indus Entrepreneur, and their MP chapter has been already started working, and we are doing this nurturing program for startups. So I believe that mentoring is the most important factor in today's world, which is very important for everybody. And at our company level also, and at PhD Chamber of Commerce, at PhD Chamber of Commerce level also, we are basically developing an MSME board or a startup mentoring board, where we can always handhold the startups and guide them that how they can build a better objective, better problem statement, and how they can build a better business plan to move to the next level. Because if you don't have good business plan, good objective, good problem statement, you cannot move to the investor. The investors are looking for better objectives and better B plans nowadays. They are not directly rushing for paying you money. Secondly, the most important thing which I have found, and that is very critical, is that we should have a local mentor board and local investor board also. So we are working on that also, sir, where we are developing in local mentoring bodies. Every city is having different type of thing. At least every state. Like whenever I call upon the people who are from Bangalore or Mumbai or Calcutta or somewhere else, they have different mindset. And the startups who are here are having different mindset. Sometimes I will say कि हमारे और उनके बीच में इंडिया और भारत का फर्क होता है. वो जिन जगहों पे होते हैं, they are generally catering to the IT and IT enabled products, where the students of our cities are coming out with solution for social problems. So now our system, our startups generally come with a socio-economic problems or social problems or agriculture problems or agri-tech or something like that, which is sometimes Mumbai people or Bangalore people doesn't have any idea about it, because they are never been from agriculture or this type of backgrounds. So I personally feel that we should have a local mentoring and local investor board. I have even suggested the same to the Madhya Pradesh government in Atmanirbhar MP, and I am pleased to inform a good feel good to tell that government of MP is also you can say accepted these recommendations. I think the local mentoring boards and local investor board and investor panels will come. Apart from that, this angel investments and angel investments are also coming to Madhya Pradesh, and venture capitalists and many other players are already in our state. And we are looking forward for a lot many things. But let me tell you that whenever we say that out of 100 startups, only 90 fails, I'm not agreeing to it. 10% people is successful in entrepreneurship, it's a big number. If साल भर में आपके पास 5,000 नए स्टार्टअप आते हैं और उसमें से 500 सक्सेसफुल होते हैं, इकोनॉमी के लिए बहुत बड़े हैं. वैसे भी entrepreneurship, it's not everybody's cake or everybody's way of life. So even if 10% are doing fabulous, I'm saying it's good. Even out of those 90, I again feel they never fail. They have an entrepreneurial zeal, so they never fail. They just not succeeded that fast. That's all. वो fail नहीं होते, वो success में थोड़े delay हो जाते हैं. So वो दोबारा आते हैं, वो बच्चे वापस लौटते हैं with model, उसको दोबारा ठीक करते हैं और दोबारा आते हैं. उनकी वो zeal होती है तो शायद product भी वो बदल देते हैं. So that's how they all work in this journey of entrepreneurship. So I don't think they are fail. 10% people who got this huge funding or they got ventures or investor, you feel that they are successful, but no, other people are also working well. So I'm very much positive and hopeful that Indian ecosystem, which is a basics of this is a great opportunity for every entrepreneur or any new thing, is quite capable of holding more startup, more innovations. And I think the specific sector-wise, state-wise entrepreneurship and startup can be developed, and the institutions like VIT can lead these things, where high level of IT and technology things can be embedded, and more of the startups who are looking for IT support. Basically IT support, many of the startups came to me, and IIT Kanpur is doing it, and they suggest us कि if आपके पास कोई startup हो जिसको IT की जरूरत हो, IT enablement की जरूरत हो, या IT के मोबाइल ऐप या किस तरह की चीजें करने की जरूरत हो, why can't you take the help of institution, a premium institution like MNIT, VIT? Their students can do this project wise. And that can be a great collaboration with the startups and VIT institution, where IT support can be provided by the students of VIT, and the startup can build their basic app and other things. So this is very important on the part that we can always introduce such type of things with the industry and with academics. So 3 things: developing a mentoring boards, developing local mentorship, developing local investors forums, and also to develop how to do better mentoring. All these are required in today's ecosystem of state level and at national level. So thank you again. This is my introductory theme for thought process on this topic. Thank you, Mr. Bharadwaj, for inviting. Thank you.
Is the Stephen sir available right now?
Yes, sir. Stephen sir has joined with us.
So I will like to give him a chance to kick us off, and you can feel free to react us, sir.
Before coming on that the panel discussion, I would like to request from Batul that please kindly introduce a young and entrepreneur who is among with us in today's panel discussion. So Batul, over to you.
Yes, ma'am. So now I would like to give my warm welcome to our new guest, Mr. Stephen A.P. Sir. He's the recipient of King's International Scholarship 2019. He's the Clinton's Global Initiative Awardee. He has done his MSc in Public Policy and Management from King's College London. He's the runner-up of the Startup Challenge, King's Business School London, and King's Entrepreneurship Institute 2020. He's also the founder and president of Yes We Can, a youth-run SDGs organization. Currently, he is working as a public policy consultant to the government of Meghalaya in Shillong, Office of Commissioner and Secretary, Planning, Finance, Skills Development, and Youth Entrepreneurship. I would like to thank you on behalf of the management for your gracious presence, sir. Now, let's move to the panel discussion round. Over to you, sir.
Thank you all who was present in the panel, my fellow panelists. I hope you're all keeping well, staying safe from this COVID. There's nothing really much to worry about. Our positive spirits and all our goodness, all our good deeds have actually overcome our fears and revelations during COVID. But the country I come from, the UK, it's not keeping really well. In fact, with all the modernized technology and AI, the communities are still struggling, yet they're trying to come out of this particular pandemic. It's a great challenge, and I should really thank Dr. Savanand and Honorable Dean, Vice Chancellor, Registrar of VIT Bhopal, and the entire organizing committee for inviting me. And thank you once again. And sorry for my delay. I'm working with the Chief Minister's office here, and my schedule is highly tentative. And I was told that I could share my. If the panel discussion is on with me, then can I share my presentation in brief, if that's feasible and if that's okay?
Yes, sir, you can, please.
All right. I hope you can all see my screen. If
sir, can you see the screen? Okay.
It's visible.
Yes, it's visible.
It's visible.
All right.
It's visible.
Yeah, I couldn't get much time. So last night, whatever with resources I could get. Well, I would currently I am my boss is heading the Skills Development and State Entrepreneurship Council, which is called the Prime. And me personally, I've started my social enterprise. It's more like a youth society 5 years ago in collaboration with the United Nations and the UK government, which I'll be talking in some time. For me, startup is something that has connections with the listed elements in here that you can see in the slide. So every person, every individual, not just youngsters, even people above 50s and above 60s, I've conversed with people who are above 60s and 50s who started the small initiatives in business. And what we all have to analyze and emphasize is on 5 important elements. One is community, nature, market, finance, and psychology. Well, this is what we all are being taught about startups, and that we have to have learning, experience, skills, ability. Keeping all this aside, it is truly important that we all have to understand the community that we live in. We can't really get a aeronautical and aerospace startup in a place where there is no water to drink. We all have to think how we could, people who are into startup ideologies will have to think in the lines where the local demands are being met through
Hello.
I think Stephen sir has got disconnected due to network problem probably. Like we will wait for some time. So he may join us. Let me go. Hello sir, can you join back again?
I'm so sorry, I don't know what happened with the if the host could enable me to share my screen, that would be really great. Yeah, thank you. So the first thing that each one of us, I mean, the students of anyone who would like to start an initiative in business circle will have to understand the nature that they live in, the geographical space, and the availability of resources, the scarcity of resources, and most importantly, the climate. Well, I've come across in London where a few startups have had an incredible idea where they have been dealing with climate change, and there's a huge funding in this space, climate change, climate action. And secondly, when we go to the market, so basically I'm trying to emphasize something that we all have to understand is why are many of the startups, incubators, startup initiators in India trying to concentrate? I mean, the majority of demand or concentration is only on IT and AI. Or why not primary sector and services? So this is something, there's a huge gap, there's a huge supply gap, and where is demand in this? So if you could see the picture, the map that I've put up, it has a wave which clearly separates, the white color net kind of a wave is something where the majority of the demand and supply happens in the world. So you have the United States, you have some of the Latino countries, and the entire Asian belt is you can see in that. So this is something where the majority of the resources are being sourced to across the globe, let it be IT or primary sector or secondary sector. And it's not, many people say that supply must meet demand. I don't see it that way. It's not necessary that the demand or supply should meet each other. There will always be deficit of resources. There are 4 cycles of production and distribution and supply. There'll always be deficit in one way or the other. It's not necessary that it has to be met. If it is being met, then the world will be at a perfect place, and it cannot be any time. Therefore, we all have to explore beyond IT or AI, and it would be great if our participants here could explore something in the primary sector, whereas 70% or 60% of India's population is involved in primary sector. There's a lot you could do. And I can see many of the startups from VIT, they're really doing good in agro processing. I've gone through a few websites of startups from VIT Institute. In fact, VIT is playing a great role in providing platforms for such young entrepreneurs, which it's really inspiring. And the third component is about finance. Well, finance is important, of course. It is not the important, but it is an important part of any startup incubator or any startup initiative, because you need money to make your business flowing. Well, how would you do that? There are many ways that you could get your money. So, by participating through pitching sessions like this, it would give an opportunity for you to explore, get some money. And of course, that's money not going to be sufficient for you to start a business. So they are even our government of India has been keen on promoting startup challenges, startup sessions, and startup fund, in fact. And I hope you all are aware of these. They're trying to go through various startup ideologies and try to fund it. So that's anyways there. But the important thing is each person who would like to start a startup should have a business finance and business economic perspectives. So there is a clear distinction of business finance and business economics. So unless you understand the two concepts of business finance and business economics, one cannot really do a startup in order to promote livelihoods, at least to my knowledge. So these are two really interesting and important comments that each of the startups should emphasize upon. And of course, resources. There's numerous resources. The only thing is we'll have to explore these resources. There are private stakeholders and public stakeholders in which they are trying to promote startups at every level. And it is up to us, it is in our hands to what extent we would like to explore and extend our tentacles. And the last but important component of any startup is psychology. A right mind is very much important. So if it is a one-man company, it is okay. You can, it's your say. A to Z is yours. You can have your own principle and your management ideologies, but you also have your customers. So you'll have to play with your customers. Well, if it is a group of people starting a startup, then a right mind is necessary. A healthy mind is necessary. A healthy discussion is necessary. Thinking outside box is necessary. And there's something, I'm not sure if we are all into social entrepreneurship, but most of the Western countries are more into social entrepreneurship. So social entrepreneurship is something where they have a vision for the socio-economic development of a particular community with a business ideology. And to give an example, many startups in India who are dealing with organic farming and millets could be considered as social entrepreneurship. But in India, I think this distinction is not yet clear. It still takes time. So basically, I'm not here to share what exactly is a startup or how we should do a startup, because that's not my area of expertise. My area of expertise is how one could sustain the business, by engaging with various stakeholders, both private and public. So these 5 elements, as I mentioned, psychology, then finance, then market. If you could see, there are many startups, and I would be able to help people if you would like to approach me. There is a greater market for Indian, immunity boosters. There's ginger, tea, lemon, mangoes, pineapples in the Middle East and in Europe, especially after COVID. They're really behind us. So there's a huge market gap in supply chain. So that is something that we'll have to explore beyond and try and see, not just rely on, on the stakes that we already have. Like VIT is a great platform that could provide you, but it's up to us to explore. So, and if you could see this picture here, so there's a blue in color, there's red bubbles, and there's yellow and orange and pink. So there are various colors. So blue is about democratic, liberal and to the left, and red is republics to the right. And yellow, you could see they're liberal Democrats. So in a community, politics is very, very important. Politics doesn't alone mean it is, elections or political parties. Every business sector, there are politics, and we all are aware of it. In every education institution, there are politics. So this particular diagram here, it explains the majority of the colors you could see is dominated by the leftist and the rightist wings. Majority rightists usually support capitalism, and leftist is more of socialism. However, you find the tiny bits of yellow, pink, green, and all. So there are tiny ideologies in the societies. So community is not just one ideology. It's a complexity of various ideology dominated by the 2 major ideologies, which is leftist and rightist. So our business idea should be in such a way that it need not please everyone. That is what I would like to say. It need not please all the communities. We can't really please every sections of society, but you'll have to have a particular targeted social, economic, and political sect. And you should have a very microscopic, micromanaged inductive approach in your startup ideology, not just to have, I would like to change the entire city and have this business idea. No, start with a small community, start with a small society, then try to expand. It's going to be a pilot. So with this, I would like to, and so this is something I got in mind, and you'll have to have, of course, startup in incubators or initiators will have both creative and logic mind. And there are 3 types of startups. I hope you're all aware of this. One is, for me, it is imitation based. The second one is innovation based. And the third one is intervention. We all have to see where our startups place, because it's really important. Basing on these, our interventions and our plans must change. If our business plan is an imitation based, so we have a different approach to be followed. We have imitation is something that, for example, automobile engineering, automobiles already exist. So we would like to have a startup of, for example, Java is a startup. You think Java is a startup. So it's an imitation based. Innovation is something that comes out of our new innovation, or an idea which doesn't really exist, or it's kind of an invention, not discovery for sure. It's an invention. And for example, you could talk about innovation of artificial intelligence, maybe. And interventions are very easy, where you can try to say intervention is usually between imitation and innovation. Intervention can be Swiggy or Zomato, all these food delivery initiative startups, where intervention is which tries to bridge the gap between imitation based startups and innovation based startups. The majority of our ideas from the Indian communities are either with innovation or intervention. And so this is basically the startup we started. It's entirely different. So I don't know, is it imitation or intervention or innovation? So we started a startup to teach foreign languages way back in 2015. And we got featured in the Hindu. So this is, so we, 5 of us, we started this with our own pocket money, with a very basic, fund, and we started teaching. So I basically teach French for kids. So I had to take help of other people, start a group of, gather a group of teachers, and started a startup to teach foreign languages. And I don't know why this is happening all the time.
Some network problem may be there. Some network problem.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm running in the secure network at the secretariat anyway. So I'll quickly finish in 2 minutes. So if you could see, this is this startup. I hope you all can hear me. Am I audible?
Yes. Please continue. Please continue. Hello. Yes, sir. Please continue.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, sir. You're audible, sir.
Yeah. So this is something kind of an not an innovation. It's just an imitation-based startup that we started to teach foreign languages, and this is something that is intervention. There is a gap between there's a gap of knowledge in a few rural places that we identified, and we started something called Barefoot Lawyers. So it's an initiative, and with the organization and with the help of the UK government, where we try to promote social awareness and entrepreneurship among Dalit people. And so, and this is something I would like to tell you guys. Social media engagement is very necessary. It doesn't mean that you just need to tweet everything. So you should make sure that people at higher stakes tweet you for the good deeds that you do. So this is something a UK ambassador was tweeting about me. He was tagging my college and the commissioners and the Prime Minister's office and all. So it has actually given me a boost to get more and more projects. This is something that you'll have to tinker upon, and networking really plays a crucial role in startup challenges. So finally, this is what I would like to talk about. Our government has come up with a beautiful flagship idea. It's the first time in the Northeast region, called Prime. So this is a startup incubation center where we try to deal with 3 categories of entrepreneurs: a startup entrepreneur, and micro nano entrepreneurs, and livelihood entrepreneurs. Livelihood entrepreneurs is for people who are experienced but have no credit facilities, and they're into traditional practices like farming or bamboo making or pickle making. So who have experience, but they don't know how to approach the market. So that is for livelihood entrepreneurs. Nano entrepreneurs are the one who are a group of people like self-help groups or cooperative societies who are trying to promote them. And startup entrepreneurs, of course, students and youth, anyone could apply for this. And so these are the various activities or businesses that we are trying to promote here. Interestingly, we also have, eco-friendly sanitary pads. No one usually, tries to tinker upon this, but, we're also trying to promote such sanitary products as a startup, and it's eco-friendly, made of all recycled waste and stuff. Well, this is it, people, and thank you for having me on board, and I hope to have, I'll be happy to clear any doubts, and my contact is always there. You could feel free to approach me. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to hear from other panelists.
Thank you so much, Stephen sir. We shall move on to Pradeep sir for further discussion in this panel. Is Pradeep sir available? It's muted, sir. Your audio is
I'm there.
Yes, sir. As we have talked about Bharat and India, the different forms, it's very less time you have right now. So I will directly go into the form that what the entrepreneurs from metro cities comes to MP or any such state of village side. There is some problem with which proofs a student has asked to me. So I will take it as problem statement. That if any incubation center, like you have an incubation center, there has to be a consultancy to look after it if it's in public sector. And if any consultant staff is going to cheat the students or representatives, which maybe they are from VIT, IIT and anything else, but if they are not in VIT, not in guardianship of VIT, and they are going to help that incubation center, or rather they are being cheated by consultant and staffs of such companies, what will be the viability of ideas that has gone to that incubation center, and what is the process to punish them?
Let me tell you about, as you asked me, कि अगर किसी incubation center में, if some incubation center and some idea came to incubation center and that has been leaked, you want to say that?
No, like there is incubation center, जैसे एक incubation center है, उसमें किसी consultancy का भी हस्तक्षेप होता है. उस consultancy का एक कोई staff है जिसने किसी कॉलेज के बच्चों को as a volunteer रखा और बाद में ये ऐसी स्थिति कर दी कि सारे ideas लेने के बाद being a localite of that city, वो उसे blackmail करता है कि मुझे आपके colleges में हर जगह connections हैं, आप तो किसी college की तरफ से आए नहीं है, तो आप better है कि आप side रहिए. तो ऐसे लोगों के साथ क्या व्यवहार करना चाहिए?
ये तो देखिए सर, इसमें मैं इसलिए कुछ नहीं कह सकता सर. देखिए, इंक्यूबेशन में कंसल्टेंसी होती है, पहले तो मुझे ये नहीं मालूम ना कि कंसल्टेंसी होती है इंक्यूबेशन में, ये मुझे नहीं मालूम. अब अगर मान लीजिए किसी कंसल्टेंट को मैंने रखा है और वो किसी कॉलेज के बच्चों के साथ डील करता है, राइट, और वो उनके आइडियाज को कैप्चर कर लेता है और फिर बाद में ब्लैकमेल करता है, ऐसे ही सब कुछ कह रहे हैं आप?
जी जी बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
तो ये किसी भी नॉर्मल कानून में ही आएगा, ये तो आईपीसी में आएगा. किसी भी प्रकार का ब्लैकमेल या किसी भी प्रकार का फोर्जरी या किसी भी तरह की मिसकंडक्ट, ये तो कानून का वो.
What is the protection to that some ideas going to there?
नहीं सर, पहली चीज तो ये समझिए कि जब कोई आइडिया, कोई भी व्यक्ति आइडिया लेके आता है और वो इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर में आता है, सो जितने भी इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर है, मुझे मालूम है कि जितने भी इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर हैं वो सारे अबाइड हैं, कहीं ना कहीं दे आर ऑल अबाइड बाय द वन थॉट दैट दिस आइडिया हैज टू बी केप्ट सीक्रेट. Still, if somebody feels that his idea or her idea is very much unique, one, he can sign an NDA with an incubation center or any consultancy firm where she or he is approaching. They can always sign an NDA, that non-disclosure agreement, so that they can move ahead. Similarly, if I don't believe that any idea is having some very much exciting uniqueness till it has been executed. And most of the ideas I have seen that most of the people are having similar ideas, but the only difference comes in the process and executions. So sometime what happened, you even have an idea, but लोग मुझसे हमेशा कहते हैं सर ये मेरा आइडिया था पर उसने कर लिया. कर इसलिए लिया सर because two people have, or 2 or 5 people have simultaneously thought about the same idea, but somebody who has delivered it, executed it, is the most important person. So I don't believe that such type of cheating or something like will happen. And I have never felt something like that or never came across it. But if some startup feels that he or her idea or any idea is very unique and create an idea, then she or he can go for IP registration, intellectual property registration, copywriting, or they can always sign an NDA with incubation center or the consultancy they are referring to. So I think to protect themselves, because Indian Contract Act or Indian Property Act or Indian any act is talk about buyer's behavior. It's about who is buying, who is approaching is responsible. So you have to check and take card of your interest, your idea interest, before approaching to any of these, if you have that fear in mind. But if you have, I don't feel that if you are reaching to AIC or any of the standard and legal incubation center, they will take your idea and build ideas on it. Because business cannot be built only on ideas. Ideas can be generated, and there is a lot of things to be added to build that ideas into the next level. Right? So it's not only idea which run the whole thing.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a problem statement from one of the representatives of IITs.
Yeah.
Further, I will move about your thinking on social and economical reforms that are taking place in the forms of entrepreneurship. So do you think that India can lead the entrepreneurship world in coming time?
See, I'm very much hopeful that India is a country of entrepreneurship. The only thing which we are lacking is innovation. See, the innovations are not much coming. We are not doing inventions also. We are generally copying the things and following the things. So if somebody created Amazon, we did Flipkart. If somebody did Uber, we did Ola. So we have to also progress on the innovation side, and Indian needs to work it more, because our socio-economic problems and the social structure problem is far different than the countries which we are following. So naturally that newness, that innovation has to come, and definitely with youngsters which I am meeting, they are coming out with various ideas. We just need a mentor to scale up those innovative ideas, because once those ideas can be scaled up to the bigger level, then only it can be a successful unicorns. So we need the innovative idea to be scaled up, and secondly mentored it well. Then money can be flowed. Money is not an issue. Money can be available for any good idea. So I believe that if some innovation comes, and then it can be scaled up by the mentors or the institutions like VIT or IIT, then that will be the new future for India. And I think we should work on new technologies like robotic. We should work on blockchains and all those new things which are coming in this world. We need not to think on those things which are already there. People are already doing. Bangalore, Mumbai people have already done. So many youngsters came with the same thought process which have been already done by the people. They are just want to copying it, or just to. So people need to understand the difference between creativity and innovations. Creativity is just a modification in existing things, and then nothing happens. Innovation is about processes. So we have to innovate in the process rather than thinking modifications and creativity in existing systems. So once we more innovate, mentors can guide us, we can definitely move ahead. And India can be in next 10 years or 20, 15 years, we can a leading country in startups in the world.
So it's like a solitary honeybee that signals the rest of its swarm. So India has an instinctive, right? So as you played a transition effect between the Bharat and India, Stephen sir also told about the reforms in international levels with the resources that are available to build up the entrepreneurship. So what Stephen sir thinks about India in the next coming 10 years in the world of entrepreneurship?
Well, see, the thing is, India has been an enterprising country since even before the Britishers have come. That's why, you know, our land has been invaded so many times, because we are rich with resources, and we know to locally, you know, empower people and try to do business. But the only issue is we don't try to tinker upon other economies. The issue with our economy is, I mean, I'm being in the government, I can't speak a few things. The issue with the Indian economy is we are so narrowed down. I mean, it all comes from the perspectives of the community that we live in. We are trying to narrow down our perspectives only to a few and a limited sectors. However, I mean, we all know that we all praise about our people, you know, especially the South Indians, or, you know, the Telugu people who are now heading Google, or Tamilians heading, you know, Microsoft or LinkedIn. We have the entrepreneurial nature has always been in our blood. The only thing is it has to be channelized in a proper manner with the help of education institutions. I mean, academia has to be taken seriously in the country, in the policy making, in the execution at every point of time. And Government of India has been trying to do it. If you could see, currently we have the Skill India program and Skill India and Entrepreneurship program, where we are trying to do it with IIMs, all the IIMs. And even VIT Bhopal or VIT also could approach us in a way we could see if there's a feasibility where you can try to partner with education institutions in promoting entrepreneurship. Hence, in a 30 or at least 27% of our India's population is below the age of 30. And one more thing before I conclude this point. Entrepreneurship is not something that's only limited to youth or, you know, students. It can be, you know, as long as there is spirit and soul and blood flowing in my body. As I was mentioning, in the UK, I've met people who started, you know, this startup at the age of 65, 66, and they're doing really well. Thank you.
Actually, I would like to ask Pradeep sir too, as Stephen sir has told that India has been an enterprising country from many years and many eras. We all have those enterprising units as a traditional business right now, and we are heading towards a new generations and new era of entrepreneurship. Still, I have an instinct that India has the highest work capita of entrepreneurs by having one entrepreneur in every 20 people. Because when we move out of the house, we will see numbers of shops on the roads, but they have all become a traditional unit. They are not right now an enterprising system. So what do you think that in the coming years they would be?
See, there is a difference between a startup definition and entrepreneurship. So what we talk entrepreneurship is there in India, right? Everybody do that. But once we talk about a startup, it's under the definition of a startup. See, anything you start, that is not a startup.
Yes,
so,
right.
so that we have to understand that a startup is a different culture and entrepreneurship is different thing. And a startup can be a part of entrepreneurship, but the innovation, scalability, and sustainability has there in startup. So India will lead in entrepreneurship because a lot of Make in India, Atmanirbhar India, and Atmanirbhar Bharat is doing well. But as far as the startup is concerned, yes, I told you before that every entrepreneur has to think big. Mentors has to make it feasible, their processes, so that they can have a large vision. Once they have large vision and large picture of the things, then only can unicorn and the so-called successful startups can come. Rest entrepreneurship, yes, there is a great need of building these entrepreneurial things through academics, like Stephen has just mentioned. So that academic institution has to come forward. Just मैंने भी अपने पिछले अभी भी कहा कि that we need good mentors also. So that mentors need to be trained also, because every successful businessman need not to be a good mentor. So we need academic intervention in the not only to the startups, entrepreneurs, but also to the mentors. So we have to have a joint program where our experience of entrepreneurship or existing businessman have to have with they should come out and they should help startups. Similarly, the academics come out with the programs where they can teach that roadside entrepreneurs which you are mentioning to have a structured format for entrepreneurship and growth track and business plans, which generally small enterprises or young enterprises and small, you can say local enterprises doesn't have. They learn by only experiencing the things. But here we can make entrepreneurship as an academic curriculum and academic thing where entrepreneurship can be learned also and trained also. Thank you.
What do you think about age, which that matters in execution of any idea?
No. Age is not a big thing.
Hello.
Age, but yes, naturally young people thinks more new things, so naturally they have more ideas, they have more because they have a raw mind, nothing is there, blank minds, so they can think new. The older people are having mix of clutters of many things, they have already experienced many things, so whatever they innovate, they themselves are confused that will be successful or not, or whether they will get all these things, and the young mind is not having those experiences, so he or she come out with a fresh. And then the experienced people have a responsibility with their experiences. They can make it a better business model. जैसे मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ, there is a difference between information and knowledge. So information plus experience become knowledge. So all the startups and youngsters are having information, ideas, new thought process, but they don't have this experience of 20-25 years. So both clubbing together can make the idea and their processes far better than the single startup is having.
You know, one thing, sir, I like to share with you about age. That last year in Startup Conclave 1 of VIT Bhopal, after inauguration, we went inside some room where we were served with some breakfast and all. And a girl volunteer came with some volunteers with some snacks. And I just thought myself that wherever I go to any event or either of my volunteers are, I think that I am very much careful about them. But that day I was very much jealous of you because you yourself given the snacks to the girl. And that time I thought that why I could not care someone like that, the way Pradeep sir cared her. Then I recognized that my age is less and I'm not a father of any daughter that can understand the feeling of care that way. So I think that age really matters and you are always the inspiration in the startup world of Madhya Pradesh. Thank you so much. I will move forward to Stephen sir.
Thank you for appreciation and kind words.
Thank you so much, sir. What is Stephen sir thinks about loss, crisis, and failure?
So sorry, Mr. Shishendra, I didn't get it.
What do you think about and how you deal with the loss, failure, and crisis?
Lost? Sorry, lost?
Loss, failure, and crisis. How you deal with that?
Lost, failure.
Loss, failure, and crisis.
Crisis, is it?
Yeah, in the field of entrepreneurship, there are three forms of crisis.
Yeah. So as Mr. Pradeep was mentioning rightly, there's a clear distinction between, a startup and entrepreneurship. There's always a distinction, and as long as we would like to distinguish, we can keep on doing it. Well, however, see the thing with, I hope I'm answering your question. The thing with our communities, our students, our startup incubators, or whatever it is, we provide incubation. So what after incubation? See, there is a lot to deal with that. There is crisis management. What if they don't get their money back? There are credit things, and what if they don't meet the expected demand and supply? So the incubation is trying to give a platform for incubators or startup initiatives to come over to the platform and try to promote businesses. But what if they fail? So I think academia and of course the government also is trying to intervene with this particular thing, where a crisis management policy has to be put. There should be a kind of a fund where we can try to protect. There should be a shield to protect these startups who fail. Of course, it's every startup can't be a success and every startup can't be a failure. And crisis management is something that we are really lacking. And if anything goes bad, 50% of the people take it positive and they move forward with it, or 50% of people might, get overlap with this thing, and they also might go depressed. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. We should move on to the students out there. They want to question some points with us. So let's start with the students right now.
Good afternoon, everyone. First,
hello,
Aishwar, can you switch on your video camera?
So actually the network error is there, so I'm trying to avoid.
Okay, carry on, just fast.
So actually a question I had was that as an undergraduate student, what skills should a student look for to develop in order to be a successful entrepreneur?
Okay.
Who's this question referred to?
Stephen, sir, if you can answer it.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, successful entrepreneur, that itself, you're trying to get into that gloomy psychological picture of, to be successful. It's good also to be an unsuccessful entrepreneur. I don't know why our students are only thinking about successful entrepreneurship. And despite of repeated, advertisements and emotional videos, the government and other education, the academia is trying to promote. It's not about undergraduate or postgraduate. It's about a right path. And as Mr. Pradeep was mentioning, a right mind and a right mentorship is really necessary. The problem, the initial challenge is here. When you don't understand the problem completely and you want to get into the problem and you want to solve the problem all by yourself with whatever limited resources you have, with a very tentative planning, that's not going to work. I advise all people, all the participants here who would like to start something in business or a social entrepreneurship, try to do a pilot. Go microscopic. Don't try to, comprehend everything and, and have these big ideas. I have to be successful. Forget about being successful. You put targets. Short term is survival. Mid-term is, maybe getting into the scope of success, and the long term should be sustainability. Think of having sustainability instead of success, and that would really help you out. And right mind and right mentorship would really be helpful, to get you to that sustainability concept rather than successful.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions with anyone?
Yes, sir. This is Anurag Gadgil, sir. So we have one more question from our attendees. How can we generate funds outside the incubation centers? Because half of the startups generally fail due to the lack of funds. So how can you do that?
With whom you are asking?
Answer, sir.
Hello.
Good answer, sir.
Okay, Anurag, you are asking about funding, right? So you should understand that there are two kinds of market. And in market, we have to get into the investments. One is capital and one is emotional. So it's complete airy theory that you are going to get funds from outside somewhere. Your first investment or first funding will come from your own circle that would have some trust on yourself, your own family, friends, and that's emotional as well as capital investment on yourself. So once your startups gets a proper rhythm to have trust to the strangers that can have investment on yourselves, then you can run. But you should first focus in your own circle for the capital, emotional capital that can help your rhythm go far.
Can I quickly answer that question? I mean, as an extension to what Shindu was mentioning.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, see, well, with regards to funding, apart from your institutions, government has put up various, for example, if I would like to talk about my state government here, the state of Meghalaya, we provide a grant. So there are three kinds of funding that the government usually does. There are three kinds. So first one is grant, which is below 5 lakhs or 7 lakhs, and it is not repayable. It's a grant. It's a fund. The second kind of funding is, below 25 lakhs, 15 to 25 lakhs. It ranges between 15 and 25 lakhs, where it is a 0% interest loan, where it is interest-free loan. And the third one is, it depends, as Shishendra was rightly mentioning, it's all how you try to inspire with your stories and all this emotional connect and networking. And if your idea is really feasible, they're going to be like, a corporate kind of an investment. So governments across, so you will have to visit MSDE, which is Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. There's plenty of opportunities, and also Startup India. And if possible, I'll try to share these links and contacts with the respective Honorable Dean here and other faculty members, and I'll also be able to help you connect with them. There's a lot of funding available with regards to startup. The only thing is a right time, right pitching, and right networking would really help you get this. Thank you.
Before that, you should have a proper platform developed to get such fundings too. That's why I said that.
So we have one more question from one of the attendees. What if we have an idea which requires a big investment from the start? So does that make the idea not feasible, considering that it solves a big problem? It's towards Stephen, sir.
If you could simplify the question for me, please.
So the question states that suppose we have an idea. It solves a very large problem, but to start that idea, it requires a large amount of funding. So is it feasible?
I hope there's not some rocket. I hope there's not some rocket science that the startup idea is with. If something with that, then you'll have to deal with ISRO or NASA. Well, coming to that part, see, as Shishendra was rightly mentioning, how do you evaluate, and how do you come to the conclusion that it's a big startup or it's a small startup and all? You will, of course, how do you judge the monetary elements to it, financial elements to it? Say there's a platform, for example, I would like to create a 3D imagining system intervening artificial intelligence. That's how I'm not an engineering student. That's how I come across various applications. We deal with almost 1,000 applications a week. So these are a few applications that I'm set to judge, and I hardly understand what that means. 3D imagining 3D imagining into intervening artificial intelligence, supercomputers kind of a thing. So these are some kind of a complex methodologies which will have a break even. So the costing, the inputs, the outputs, how much is going to cost for resources and all. So when someone would like to when someone would like to sponsor, or someone would like to fund, or someone would like to give an interest-free loan, let it be the government or a private or an individual, so they would look into your break-even, your financial break-even. So that should really be important. See, discussing an idea is to one part, but convincing them with finances in another part. For that, you definitely need the support and help of your, someone who is really experienced with this financial sector or commerce. But there is one more thing to this. There are many people that I met who came with a very simple idea, but it needs huge investment, like maybe in crores. I would really advise, if you really want to be not a successful entrepreneur, but a sustainable entrepreneur, come up with a pilot phase. So that's going to be really interesting. When you come to a big, funding agency and you say, so this is my project XYZ, and this is how it works, XYZ, we need 10 crores for it. But as a pilot, we would like to start and see if this really works. And this is what we need, 10 lakhs. And if this works, then please, we would like to wage for 10 crores. So if your pilot works, then they know. They travel through your journey. The big investor knows how you work, and he'll be interested to give you maybe 10 crores. So go with the pilot. Go small. Start small. Don't try to grow big all at a time.
I will answer this further. That if I'm going to construct a building and there are 4 people outside my house, whom I will give more value, the person who is sufficient to build up my building. So when I am going to invest on something, I will also look at how much return I am going to get. Otherwise, I will just give them a laddu. So first make that startup look that it's productive. Then after you can think of any further funding from government or any angel investor. No one is going to invest on you for risking a loss. He will first look after that how much productive it is. Rather then he will only invest. And when it is going to be productive, a person will not invest at that amount. Like someone named Tiger has invested in Flipkart and many more. I knew a person who has worked with Stephen Hawking in that. So even Stephen Hawkins was in space, but has some point of view towards entrepreneurship. But they could not get such amount of funds initially because they have to think of productivity. So you should show your startup to be productive at certain platform. Then you go for funding. Otherwise, even if government is going to give some funds to you, there will be a percentage of loan on that. And if you fail, the government is not going to lose anything rather than taking back their interests. Thank you. Any further questions?
No, sir. I guess we don't have any more questions about it.
Yeah, I think we don't have any more questions. We can wind up. Batul, you can.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank all the panelists, Mr. Pradeep Karambelkar, sir, Mr. Stephen AP, sir, and our eminent speaker, Mr. Srishna Bharadwaj, sir, for this amazing discussion. This session was incredibly helpful and knowledgeable for all the young entrepreneurs over here. Also, thank you to all the faculty members and audience for joining us today. The startup competition will start at 1:30 p.m. Now, I would like to request Aishwarya to brief the participants about the third session of this Startup Conclave 2.0. Over to you, Aishwarya.
Yes, to all the non-VITians and respected speakers, a mail will be shared to you before 1 p.m. And through that mail, there will be a link for the Microsoft Teams. And through that link, you can join without having a Microsoft Teams account or anything. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so
that's
much.
Yeah. 1:30 p.m. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You can join back at 1:30.
Yes,
Yeah.
on the Microsoft
Yeah.
Teams.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.